There's nothing more frustrating than spending time with your prospect and not closing the sale. You've spent probably weeks or days communicating, you've sent the samples, you've sent the quotes, you're waiting for this deal to close and it doesn't close. I mean, that is one of the biggest frustrations for salespeople and business people, for business entrepreneurs. And today, I'm going to teach you 3 critical skills that you need to understand and master if you want to be a good closer, if you want to be able to be a good sales closing specialist. Okay? You see, many people don't know how to communicate, and sales is really about communication. Many people don't know how to communicate. Many people don't even know how to sell. There's a skill around selling, understanding the customer's emotions, understanding the customer's buy out of feelings, not based on facts, that customers use their heart to buy, and you have to create that feeling. And I've had the other videos where I'm talking about that aspect of tapping into the feeling of the customer when you are selling to them. And even fewer salespeople know how to close. I've been in this field of sales for 25 years now. I've been in various positions, have held various roles across corporate companies. I've run my own businesses. I've done online selling. I've experienced the highs and the lows of selling. I know what works. I know what doesn't work. And I want to draw onto that experience that I have and be able to engage with you and teach you what I've learned over these years. So as a salesperson or business owner, I would say it's your responsibility, it's your duty, it's your obligation to make that sale. It doesn't matter what environment it is. It could be in a shop, it could be in a shop, it could be over the counter, over the internet, on an online demo presentation. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you need to close that sale, because all those presentations you've done, all that effort you've done, doesn't amount to anything if it doesn't result in a closed sale. So this is very, very, very important. You need to be able to learn how to close the deal, how to get the customer to that point where they say yes to your offer, yes to your solution, yes to your product. Because the sale only happens, or can only be recognized, when it becomes a closed sale. The rest of the sales process is important. Prospecting, lead generation, proof of concept, all these stages, presentations, and finally you have to get your customer to that point where they say yes, sign on the dotted line. If you don't get there, the sale process is not complete, and you can never take that process to the bank. The only thing you can take to the bank is the closed sale. So there are 3 important skills that you must memorize if you want to be a good sales person or business person and to make good money. And the first sales skill that you must learn is connecting with your customer. If you're selling low ticket items, or you work in a retail shop where people come and pick the product and walk out, and you're offering a quick solution, then you really don't need much of this skill. But if you're dealing in selling anything of significant value that customers are going to deal with a couple of thousands of dollars, and they have to make this decision, then you need to make sure that you connect with them and be able to have deep empathy with them, because this is a big emotional commitment on their part. As Roosevelt said, one of the quotes from Roosevelt is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And this is across all aspects of life. People want to know, do you care? And when you're dealing with sales, your customer needs to know that you care. They need to feel that you care about them. You care about their experience. You care about them getting the value of what they have purchased. They're getting the results that they are looking for. If you're selling a training program, they want those results. You make sure that they get those results. And the customer needs to connect with you from an emotional level and be able to feel that you care. So connecting with your customer is very, very key. And one of the ways you connect with your customer is for you to, one, walk in their shoes. Try as much as possible to relate with where they are, what they are going through, and connect with them emotionally and also explain or talk back to them in everything that they've communicated to you. You need to talk back to them and reflect it back to them and rephrase what they have said, and they'll start feeling that you have that connection, you're understanding where they're at. And that's one way of connecting with your customers. But that is very, very key when it comes to closing the sale. So when we talk about connecting with your customer, the customer needed to know that you care about them. One of the ways that you could prove to the customer that you care about them is if they are trying to buy something from you and it's not a good fit for what they're looking for, you should be able to tell them this is not a good fit and refer them to another business or another provider who can meet their need more accurately, who has a product or service that's a better fit for their needs, than to try and force a sale through and your customer later on will discover that it was not a good fit for them. But if a customer realizes that you care more about their welfare and not just making a sale, that way the customer starts to trust you. I remember one time I was involved in a role play with one of my mentors, and our mentor was teaching us, a group of about 7 of us, and we were being taught how to close high value sales. I was in a corporate business at the time, and we were selling very high cost solutions in IT. And so we were being taught how to close. And I remember one of our mentors took us through this exercise where we would have face to face. We take them through the steps, we take the customer, and there'll be objections and how to handle them and all that. And at the end of the whole exercise, on one of the early days of the training, our mentor just told us, no, I can't buy from you. It's like, why? He says, because I don't feel that you care the way you're communicating. We have memorized all these concepts and we're communicating them in a very mechanical way, and the customer is going to feel it. He's going to feel that we've just memorized certain words, certain phrases, but it's not coming across as somebody who cares. And we had to practice and practice for us to learn how to put the feeling and to be able to make the customer feel that you care about their situation, you care about their benefit, you care about their experience. And that is the empathy I'm talking about. So it's very, very important to bring that empathy and to bring that feeling to the customer that you care about them, and not just that you're bringing the feeling that you need to actually care. I'm not talking about pretending to care. I'm talking about you understanding your customer, connecting with them, and being able to genuinely care for them. People can feel when you genuinely care for them, and they can tell when you're pretending to care for them. So connecting with your customer, empathy with your customer is skill number 1 that you need to master for you to close that sale and become that super salesperson or make those great profits in your business. So that is the first one. The second sales skill that you need to learn for you to be able to become a high skill closer and somebody who's able to close your sales. So the second skill that you need to learn in closing sales is the ability to uncover your customers' pain points. One of my mentors used to say that no pain, no sale. No pain, no sale. The issue is not that you don't know how to sell. The problem is that you don't know how to diagnose the customer's need. Most salespeople talk too much. They don't take time to listen to the customer. They don't take time to understand what the customer's pain point is. They don't ask the right questions to get to understand what the customer is looking for. They just talk and talk and talk. You may know your products inside out. You may be able to do very good presentation about your product, but it's your product or services and their qualities and their value, or rather the details about your product and services, not what sells itself. Customers don't really care about all these benefits that you explain about your customer. The customers want you to understand their pain point and then explain how your product is going to address their pain point. The product's sales is driven by the customer's need. The customer's pain point is what causes the customer to buy. It's not how well you know your product. So knowing your product is important, but you have to be able to uncover what is the pain point of the customer and link that to your product benefits. And that way the customer then will be able to make a decision to buy. You have to be able to look at the bigger picture as a salesperson and understand what the customer really needs. Sometimes and I say this to a lot of salespeople that I've trained, is that sometimes even the customer doesn't know accurately what they need. They may have an idea, but they may not fully know what they need. What do I mean by that? Sometimes a customer may come to you thinking they need ABC solution, but for you as a professional salesperson and who understands how to unearth or diagnose the customer's needs, you may be able to realize that they actually need B, D, and F. And so they may need both A, B, C, D, E, and F, or just D, E, and F. They don't need the A, B, C. So it's for you to actually narrow down to what the customer really needs, because there are times when the customer doesn't even know what they need in accuracy. And it's for you to look at the bigger picture. You understand your product, you understand the market, you understand the customer, and marry the three and be able to give them a solution which is best for them, and be able to explain to them why it's best for them. So, and I think the customer's pain point. What I mean is that take your customer is at this level and you want them to get to this level. Okay. Now, between where they are and where they want to go, there is a gap. And that gap is what your product, your solution needs to bridge. If you can bridge that gap, then you'll make your sale. If you can prove the customer that your product is able to bridge that gap, then you're able to make your sale. But if all you do is talk about your product, you might not be able to close the sale. So if all you do is keep pushing your products, benefits, and features, the customer is not going to buy. That doesn't motivate them to buy. Or you'll get objections like, yeah, I know what, yeah, you know what, that sounds good, but I just want to think about it. Or let me get back to you, customer says. Or maybe the customer says, check with me again in 3 months. Those are just ways of the customer trying to get out of the sale process. And it's for you. It also means that you're not really addressing their pain point. Okay, so you need to understand their need and bring a solution that addresses their pain point. And now this brings us to skill set number 3. So skill set number 3 is the ability to handle objections. And this is a big one because in sales, most people fear rejection and objection. We all have gone through it in our sales experiences. No salesperson likes objections or rejection. So this is the biggest challenge for salespeople, and for you to become a good salesperson, you need to master the ability to handle objections. Now, you've seen a lot of trainers teach a lot of this about objections, that the customer will say this, you say that. If the customer responds like this, you respond like that. So it's like a strategy of how to counter the customer's objections of not wanting to buy at that point. I like to look at it differently, and I like to look at objections a bit differently. You see, most of the style that is taught by most coaches and gurus out there is actually reactionary. What I mean is that they teach you how to go into a sales situation, and you should be waiting for how the customer is going to react, and then you're going to counter it. And for me, I feel that is reactive. If you're waiting for a customer to say something and then you respond, it's reactive. You're not in control of the situation. It's like going into a boxing match. Like you're a boxer, you're going to a boxing match and you're going there waiting defensively, and every time the person throws a punch, then you counter, and then you wait. Then that's your strategy. And if that's your strategy, you're going to have a really hard time, because you cannot predict how that match goes, and you'll always be on the back foot. You'll always be on the defensive. So my approach with objections, what I've taught our salespeople is to be on the offense. As they say in sports, the best defense is a good offense. So I believe that it's all good to use scripts, and you're going to say, this is how you say it, and then I'm going to counter it, and this is what you're going to say, and I'm going to counter it. What you need to is to go there with a good set of skills. Like, again, using the analogy of a boxer, go in with your good boxing skills, but don't have a pre-planned, game plan of waiting for this person to punch and do that. Just go with your skill set and use it effectively to win that match. And you're going to use the skills and be flexible within that match, within the event, that you're not actually just waiting for them to do this and you react. It's more of an offensive approach where the objections don't even need to come up. You're going to preempt those objections early enough. They don't even need to come up in the first place because you have already handled them very well. So I much prefer to preempt objections versus handling objections, because to preempt is actually proactive. Preempt is proactive, while handling of the objections is a defensive or reactive way of doing it. So there's a better way, there's a smarter way to sell and close. You don't have to copy what everyone else is doing. Just have a good strategy, but go in, talk to your customer in a natural way. Let them not feel that you have memorized these responses. Just have very natural way of responding or taking them through the sales cycle in a way that you will address the objections way before they come up. So that's the third and final skill set that I wanted to teach about today. Thank you for watching and being with me throughout this video. I pray that whatever we've learned is going to be something that you can apply in your situation, in your business. And do subscribe, do like our video, and we can connect again in the next one. So bye for now. Cheers.